Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about Etsy ads and how you can use it to actually make money after all the marketing fees and costs and everything else. So it's one thing being able to run ads on Etsy, as you probably already know as you tried it, you're coming here looking for help. But there is a repeatable strategy here that can be used to get results on the platform every time, as long as you have something sellable. We'll just say that already works on the platform organically, showing that there's a market for what you have. And then with that, you should always be able to get ads to work on top to compound greatly what you're making on the Etsy platform. Of course, one of the main benefits of running the Etsy ads is it's going to make your organic listings go up because you have more sales coming through the system, which is it could just be the primary reason for running it in the first place, even though the ads themselves can be profitable. So my goal is to have your ads be profitable, and then your organic's going to come up, which is going to make your investment into the ads even more worth it, so to say. So with that said, I'll go through what the system is here, what type of returns that you could basically expect, which in short here, you should be able to spend 3 to 5% of the product cost in generating a sale with this system here, to give you an idea of the type of returns that are possible if you use this exact system I'm giving you here. So I'll explain what the system is, a few tips in managing your ads, and then everything you need to get great results on the Etsy ads platform will be in your hands. So getting into the content, Etsy doesn't give you that many levers to pull inside your ad account, which you can look at that as a good or a bad thing, and as compared to like Amazon and eBay and other platforms like Google and so forth that you should also run your ads on, because if you're able to make things work on Etsy, it should work on Amazon, eBay, as well as probably Google, as well as probably Microsoft/Bing ads. If you're going to spend all this time making your products, unless you're trying to be a solo, individual operator, that middle ground between wanting to build more than a company that's just you and a company that does several million of sales a year, it's a lot of work for not a lot of additional profit. So I always tell people, either shit or get off the pot. Either try to be small, super small, earn a good income, or get to 3+ million a year in sales selling what you have, because that's the only way it's worth it to do more than what you're doing yourself. For the most part, as I've seen it, you have economies of scale, you have good systems set up, and it's worth it to do all that other stuff to get all the employees and scale up, because if something happens to you, of course, you've got a business still. And part of getting to the 3 million a year is doing more than just Etsy. If it'll sell on Etsy, it'll sell on these other platforms. But anyway, going back to the topic at hand here, it's easier to run an Etsy ad. There's not as much to do. You don't even have to pick keywords with Etsy ads. So the good thing is there's not that much to go wrong, if you will. But if your ads are not working, there's not as many things you can do to get your ads working. Those levers come in handy when your ads aren't profitable. You can say, okay, what's the 80% that's not working here? Let's shut that off. Okay, now we've got something that's profitable after all of our expenses. But there's ways to optimize the ads without the traditional deliberate systems, levers, whatever, that these ad platforms normally give you to optimize your ads. You could still do it in a roundabout way through the hack I'm sharing with you here. So, like these other platforms, it still does come down to the keywords. Of course, Etsy picks where your ads show up. They pick what keywords they show up for. You don't have that direct control over your ads, but it does come down to the system understanding which keywords, and when somebody makes a search on the Etsy platform, that your product should show up for versus not show up for. And if you start out with a bad listing that isn't rich with the proper keyword being proper information, it's not going to have your product show up for the terms that are profitable, and so ultimately what's going to happen is your ROI on your campaign is going to go down, and your ads are not going to show nearly as much as they should in the proper places, in general at all, because they don't want to show an irrelevant product to their users because people will not want to use the platform as much. So you won't get as much exposure and total potential out of the platform itself using ads. So you want to focus on the keywords, and because that's the key thing that gets things to work on other platforms as well. And with Etsy, you do it in a different way, i.e. you optimize the listings that you have. This actually goes into, at the same time, making your organic traffic and sales you get organically work better, but it also goes into making paid ads actually pay off for your company and are profitable, and to where you can spend $1 and get $20 of sales out of it. So my recommendation to you, given I've done this myself before here, for somebody who's sold individual crafts on the platform, is to start out on Amazon or Google first, legitimately, to gather data about what keywords actually work, because obviously Etsy doesn't really give you that data. And so how do you know what keywords that you should show up for on Etsy if you don't have the data? Of course, you can kind of guess what it should show up for, but no matter how intuitive you are about your customer base and your understanding your products and what problems they solve, you're still not going to be able to guess all the things that you should show up for ultimately on the Etsy platform for your ads to show up for. And so that's where running a small pilot campaign on Google or Bing might be better than just do it on Bing if you're in a fairly big market, because that gets a better return than Google and also gives you keyword data. It might mean just running a campaign on Amazon, because all those platforms give you the data when you get a sale, what that user exactly typed in that generated the sale. That data is invaluable to get your Etsy ads to actually work, because the Etsy platform and the algorithm, even though it's a sophisticated algorithm that decides if your ad should show up for people and when and where on the platform, it's still not good enough to understand almost at all, we'll just say, what it should actually show up for in terms of specific searches on the platform. So if you go ahead and you run an ad on these other platforms first, you get the data, then Etsy ads is going to be like shooting fish in a barrel at that point. If you can't run an ad on some of these other platforms for whatever reason, you could actually go to spyfood.com and look up other competitors, assuming you have direct competitors, and look up what keywords they advertise on via Google, because that'll give you insights as to what you should show up for on the Etsy platform. So in other words, the keywords that people are searching on Etsy is different, but it is mostly the same as the same keywords that would lead up to a sale on eBay, on Amazon, on Google, on Bing. So SpyFu, what this tool does is it actually, once you type in the competitor website into the platform, it tells you what keywords they're advertising on specifically, and then what their ads say, of course. But the key thing here being that's important is what keywords they're actually showing up for, because the system scans Google and finds what ads show up and for what type of searches. And then you could use those keywords that they show up for, ultimately, ones that particularly they're advertising on the most, because they do give you a little bit of that data, to draw conclusions as to what you should show up for. And what you're specifically looking for here is the most relevant keywords that you can find. And we're talking about long tail keywords here. Long tail keywords, what this means is keywords that are super specific as to what the user is revealing that they want. So if you're selling flower pots, custom flower pots, what you want is to find out what specific searches those competitors are searching for, or what worked on the other platforms, so that you're not going to advertise on the word flower pots. You want to advertise on the word brown bohemian clay flower pots, and it's super specific as to what that person wants. And if that's what you sell, and that keyword lines up with what you sell, that's the keyword then that you want to show up for on the Etsy platform. Why? With the more specific the search that the person makes, the more likely and statistically likely the person is going to actually go ahead and buy something. So if your ad shows up for somebody that makes a super specific search like that and then they actually click on your ad, the likelihood that they're going to buy versus if they typed in flower pots and then clicked on your ad because it looked interesting is going to be 3 to 10 times more likely that that person's going to buy, which means the ROI of your campaign is going to be much better showing up for these very specific terms that line up with your products, because those people that are searching that way are more serious buyers. They're more likely to buy something. Because there's a lot of people that get on Etsy that are typing in flower pots that aren't going to buy anything. They're just browsing. But if you're going to go ahead and type in that specific search I mentioned as an example, the likelihood they are going to buy something is quite higher. So your goal is to try to have Etsy's algorithm only have you show up for very specific searches that match your products, because that gets you a better quality of user to your listings and that you're actually paying for with the Etsy Ads platform, okay? So, and then with that, if to kind of follow that up, if the term is arbitrary, leave it out of your list. So if the keyword, they're typing in a specific keyword, but typing in that keyword, do you think that that person might be looking for what you're having, but also many other types of items? You don't want that keyword. You're looking for keywords that are super specific, and you basically, you know, if they type that in, they're only looking for the exact items that you sell. Because again, now it eliminates waste that you're going to have to pay for clicks for people that are ultimately going to be likely to buy from you. So because there's a lot of keywords like that where basically if they type that in, they could want one of 3 different things. And so basically 2/3 of the people that click on your ad, even though they can see an image of your product before they click, they aren't going to be likely to want to buy. Where, you know, you want it to be where if they're typing in this term and they click on the ad that I have, they're 99% likely to want to buy a product, either my product or one that's doing the same exact thing, if you will. So eliminate the arbitrary terms, and then once you got these keywords, okay, this is where you're going to use them, okay? The algorithm that Etsy has is going to scan your product pages to identify what keywords your ad should show up for, or where your ad should show up, what search results itself, right? So what you do is you then take those keywords and then you lace or embed those keywords within your product listings. So if you have a lot of similar products that have just slightly different designs, you could take your keywords and sprinkle a few here on this page, a few on this page, or you could have every page up in the same one. You know, you can kind of decide what makes the most sense for your business, but the most relevant keywords that you think have the highest, they're still, you know, if that person searching is 99% likely to want to buy your product and only the type of product that you sell, but also has a lot of people searching for it versus other keywords, you know, more people searching for that keyword overall, you want to put those keywords in the title of your products, because the algorithm is going to more heavily favor have you showing up, at least at first, keywords that are in the title of the title itself of the product. They're going to take the description text and keywords within the description as a second most likely, you know, where they're taking the keywords within that, the second most serious, if you will. And then from there, they're going to look at the tags. So, in other words, again, you only want keywords that only exactly match what you're selling, and the ones that you think get searched the most, probably those are going to be the ones that are the shortest, because people that make specific searches, it's higher quality traffic, but they're making less searches overall. You put the shorter ones in the title, the ones that are a little bit longer in the description, and the ones that are the longest in the tags itself. And so, yeah, obviously this is a lot of work, but once you've done this, the algorithm doesn't have to work very hard to get you sales at that point. They know exactly who the ad should show up for and who it shouldn't. And then you basically start getting sales right away if you've done this the correct way. You know, it's obviously no guarantee it only shows up for the keywords you put on your listing, but what it does do is it makes sure that most of your budget is going to what you put on your listing itself, and it's going to, what little trial and error it does on its own to have you show up for other terms it's going to weed that out fairly quick. And so what you're always trying to do with your ads is get it to work and be profitable, and then from there it's all just gravy. If you need to get $20 in sales revenue for every dollar spent on ads, and you go ahead and do all this work, and you get to a 20-to-1 return right away, and then the system's still having you show up for other stuff, it's fine because you're still making money. And then over time, there's some waste there, but it's going to figure out some stuff to maybe get you up some other sales, but you're never going to be in the hole in terms of the ROI on your campaign, so to say, because you did the prerequisite work up front to give the system the right keyword data to do well on the platform itself. So, and that's exactly how it works. It'll have you show up for terms. If it doesn't convert very well, you won't show up for that term anymore. But if you don't give it the right keyword data, it's going to have you show up for everything, and it's going to have to waste a ton of your money before it ever figures out the information that you could have just gave it up front if you used the information, the system that I gave you here. So that's the main thing. That's, in fact, so the keywords is 90% of the result in terms of getting results. In terms of what you need to do or what you can do to optimize your ads, 90% of it is just with having that right keyword data on your product listings. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to start with a $5 a day budget and just let it run until it works. A lot of people think that running ads, it's just like a light switch. They either turn it on, oh, it doesn't work, this is a bullshit system, I shut it off, then they go tell everybody Etsy ads don't work. All of these ad platforms anymore, it doesn't matter which one it is, as long as it's on a fairly big site that has a lot of traffic, it's all running off of algorithms. It's testing, like I was saying before, certain keywords. Oh, that keyword doesn't work. Let's not run that. Oh, let's try this keyword over here, and so forth. Or it'll make your product show up on this page versus this page. Anyway, they got to do trial and error, and it's through machine learning. So a certain amount of data has to go through your campaign for the algorithm to understand what not to do. If it figures out, the more it figures out, the more results it can give you. So it's very common for the first 3 months, 6 months, your ads won't do very well. But if you would just stick with the program and then invest it into the program so the algorithm can be fed some data, you would have gotten to the other side, and then 6 months in, it starts to become profitable, and then it's profitable for the next 5 to 10 years for you. And if you would have gave up at month 3 because you were so impatient or just didn't understand you had to wait, then all the millions in sales you would make over the next 10 years will never be there because you gave up too early, right before you got to the good part. So, in other words, invest what you can afford to lose up front. If you can afford to lose $5 a day, it's not going to affect your business either way, invest $5 a day. If you can invest 10, you'll get to where you amass the amount of data you need to be successful on the platform quicker. But if you can't afford $10 a day to be lost until it starts working, then do $5 a day. So the more you invest, the quicker the results will come in terms of the ROI you're looking to ultimately receive from Etsy ads. But if you have less money, you just invest less in the system. You could do $1 a day if you need to. It'll just ultimately all you're doing is you're stretching out the time it's going to take to amass. So in other words, there's a certain amount of data that needs to be collected by your campaign in order for the system to know what to do to get you the return you want. You can stretch it out over time with a lower budget, or you can get there relatively fast with a higher budget. But either way, just know that you're it's going to be very unlikely, even with the right keywords, that it's going to work day one. And so there's going to be a waiting period. What you're looking to do is see that the return that you get month 1 is not what you get in month 2. And that, in other words, that your results get better on a month-over-month basis. Month 1, you got 2 sales. Month 2, you got 4 sales. Month 3, you got 6 sales. And it just keeps building. And if you see the trend, eventually you're going to get to your goal. You may not like having to wait, but trust me, if it were easy, everybody would do it. There would be no opportunity for you. These platforms have a great opportunity for you because 90% of the people who try it are going to give up because they want instant damn results. So, Be the 10% who doesn't have to have an instant return, and you're going to get all the millions in sales long term because you waited. So you spend $5 a day or whatever starting out. $5 a day is plenty, usually. When you get the return you're looking for in terms of the ROI or ROAS, you're going to increase the ad budget in 20% increments. So if you're doing $5 a day, then you're going to switch to doing $6 a day. Then from $6 a day, you're going to do $7.25 a day, and you're going to build up. And why 20%? Because the algorithm is going to, if you go from $5 a day to $50, thinking that you're going to have the same return that you had on $5 a day, it's not going to generally happen because it's too much for the algorithm to learn at once. It understands how to get you a return on a $5 a day budget. But when you go to a $7 a day budget, it's got to have to figure out how to pull the other $2 a day spend out of its ass to get you the same return it got you on the first 5. That takes some time. And if you don't want your campaigns to go into the red again while you're waiting for it to happen, the best bet is to only increase your budget 20% at a time, so that basically your campaign stays profitable while it's trying to figure out how to run what it did at $5 a day at $7 a day, if you get my drift. And so, and eventually we'll figure it out, and then you could go to 9, and then you may not like that it takes this long to scale up your advertising spend, but if you keep doing it like that, you'll generally be able to raise your budget 20% every 90 days. Once you get 3 to 5 years in, you're going to be spending, instead of $5 a day, you're going to be spending $200, $300 a day and making, literally $1 million a year in sales just from Etsy ads. So, again, if it were easy and quick and it was an instant get-rich-quick scheme, everybody would be doing it. Everybody just wants one ad that they can click on and they're rich. The systems need data and they need time to figure out how to get you the results, because there's so many variables. The keywords is only one variable. They're looking at the type of person searching. What did they look at before they see your ad? They'll figure out things that you couldn't even imagine. Like when this person looks at this product and then this product and then this product, and then we show them this particular product from this seller, they're 60%. 60%. There's a 60% chance that they'll buy this product, but only if they've seen these 3 products first. They do all that. They're looking at the person's demographics and all this other stuff that you just can't force the system. The results come from knowing the types of traits that buyers have, and they're looking at thousands of data points on their users. So they're not going to figure all that stuff out overnight. It takes trial and error. But if you keep investing into the system, you'll keep getting more out of it. It's just not going to happen overnight. So last thing I'll mention as far as the optimizations goes. So if you've already sold more than 100,000 lifetime on the platform, what I would tell you is to eliminate any products that have never had any sales, at least at first, so that you get to your initial ROI and profitability quicker. Those products that never got any sales could get sales, but most of them probably aren't that good of sellers. Otherwise, they would have at least had one sale on them already. So, because everything at the beginning, everybody wants to make money, they don't want to lose money. So the goal is to get to profitability, because once you get there, it's all a downhill slide. Whatever you're doing to grow the sales is covered by the sales that the system that you already got is already getting. So, to not stretch that out too long, start with the products that are just known sellers. And then once you got that going, if you want to bring in the products that have never sold, to try to get those working, you can do so. You absolutely do want to do that. But it'll get you to profitability quicker. And then, what I would recommend in that case is not bringing them all in at the same time. Add another 5. Once those get some sales, add another 5, and so forth, or something similar to that. So basically, that's the system that I would recommend you use. And this is not that different than what I do on other ad platforms. So I didn't have to come up with a specialized Etsy system. It's just, what's going on here is not that much different than other platforms. But I have done this exact thing on this platform. So the keywords are the main thing that you have to get right in order to not wait 2 years for a return on your campaign. And trust me, if you do this, the returns will end up being great. had a couple clients who ran Etsy ads, and normally as an ad management firm, what we always do is we get the client a return. When the returns on a certain platform are plateauing, we suggest going on to the next platform, and then we get good returns there, we go to the next platform. For instance, if we get a good return on Amazon, we'll go to Wayfair. We've done Wayfair, we'll go to Walmart. We've done Walmart, we'll go to Etsy. And that's what you should be able to do as well. So it's not, a standalone thing. It's, what can we get out of Etsy? Okay, we got it, now let's go over here. Okay, this part of what we're doing on this platform works, okay, let's go over here. And get on as many platforms as you possibly can. So we did have somebody that sold artesian flower pots on Etsy. We also had somebody else that sold jewelry on Etsy, specialized imported jewelry specifically. And both of them did well with Etsy ads. They were, I will admit, they were also doing well starting out organically on those platforms, and they weren't doing well with the ads until we used this system. So I know this system will make a campaign that's typically not profitable without it to become profitable, which is why I made this video. But, so in other words, and that's why I told you, if what you're doing is working organically, the ads will absolutely work. You just have to make sure you've done the proper work to get the ads set up so that it doesn't take too long to get you a return. It'll eventually always work. The question is, are you going to wait long enough? And this system cuts down the time and investment up front necessary to get it to work at a minimum profitability level down to 2-3 months on average, we'll just say. So, with that said, then of course, like I said, when you do this is actually the best thing you can do to get your organic better, which if you're going to switch up the keywords on your listing is going to throw your organic stuff off, but it's for your own good, so to say, because the long-term potential of your organics can be so much better once you've done this. Because you have, now the system understands what to show up, have your stuff show up for organically that it didn't understand before. It was never going to guess it. Because the system took too long, or it was too hard for them to figure it out, or that they weren't going to figure all of it out, because that without giving it all that keyword data that you're going to ultimately provide it. So with that said, though, I'll wrap it up with that. If you have any questions about Etsy ads or in general running ads online, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves a question or comment on this particular channel. And if you like the channel here and the video that I share with you, I'd appreciate giving this particular video a like, and consider subscribing, as I have a lot of other ad related content on this channel about how to make money with ads. Just so that if you weren't aware of it yet, you haven't subscribed yet, I provide guaranteed results for our clients' ads. We manage people's ads online on different ad platforms. We don't take fees until we get the client more sales results, at least up front. So the stuff that we're using to do that for our clients, I'm giving you the exact strategies we're using on this channel, and it's coming from somebody who manages several dozen ad accounts on an ongoing basis on various platforms. So I'm not a YouTuber who just is talking out my butt here about what works and what doesn't. I'm actively working with a bunch of clients on an ongoing basis, knows what works and what doesn't work. So it's literally the best information you're going to be able to provide yourself about making money with online ads that you're going to find on YouTube or elsewhere. So you should subscribe. If you like the channel, you'll love my blog at GaryTPPC.com/blog. If you're looking for somebody that's an excellent and the best ad manager you could find, reach out to me at GaryTPPC.com. I'd be happy to look at your stuff and see if we can work together. We generally don't take fees before we get our clients more results than what we normally charge for fees. We also partner with companies and take a percentage of their sales growth. We've done that with several companies, and they're doing extremely well. And so if you're interested in either one of those things, reach out to my firm, and I'll be happy to discuss it with you and see if there's a match there. We don't work with just anybody, but if you have a great product or service that just has a little bit of, your marketing is weak, that's the opportunity we're looking to, find and to do at our company. So we also, as a side, have campaign templates that work in a number of different markets, a few dozen different markets. If you're ultimately looking to just start up a new business and want to start a business that has a proven ad campaign for it already, you can take our campaign templates that work for certain industries that already get proven results in an industry, copy and paste those templates into your ad account and get predictable results. We can tell you what results you get in that market before you even start. And the way that we're able to do that is the clients that we have work in a different geographic market than what you would be working in, and therefore there's no conflict of interest, but the results are there, and we would tell you what those results are up front. It's a great way to start up a business, considering we have several people that took our templates, simply outsourced the work to another company or delivery of the product to another company, and then they were making money purely from the fact that they had a campaign. We optimized for years in that industry already. So if you're interested in that type of thing as well, you can reach out to me. I'll let you know what campaigns and what markets we have results in. But I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in my next video where we have another great strategy for you then. See you later.